Part 1 Introduction. At the far edge of the world, in the deep blue waters of the South Pacific Ocean, lies a country that feels almost mythical. A land of towering mountains, ancient forests, roaring waterfalls, and endless coastlines shaped by nature and time. This is New Zealand. To many travelers, New Zealand feels less like a destination and more like a living landscape, painting a place where nature remains vast, wild, and beautifully untouched. With only a small population spread across the two main islands, the country offers something increasingly rare in our modern world: space, silence, and a breathtaking natural beauty. The Maori people, the first inhabitants of these islands, called this land Aotearoa, meaning the land of the long white cloud. According to legend, early Polynesian explorers first spotted the long stretch of white colors hovering above the islands long before they could see the island itself. Those clouds were a sign that a new world waited beneath them. New Zealand's landscapes are the result of a powerful geological force. The country sits along the boundary of two massive tectonic plates, the Pacific Plate and the Australian Plate, constantly shaping the terrain. Earthquakes, volcanoes, glaciers, and erosion have sculpted a landscape unlike almost anywhere else on Earth. Within a relatively small area, New Zealand contains an astonishing variety of environments. Snow-covered alpine ranges rise dramatically above emerald valleys. Ancient rainforests filled with towering trees blanket the hillsides. Crystal-clear lakes mirror the surrounding mountains, and rugged coastlines stretch for thousands of kilometers along the Pacific Ocean. But New Zealand is more than just scenery. It is a place deeply connected to culture, history, and storytelling. Maori traditions remain an essential part of the nation's identity, influencing art, language, and the relationship between people and the land. Every mountain, river, and forest carries a story. Over the past centuries, New Zealand has also become one of the world's most beloved travel destinations. Adventurers, filmmakers, hikers, and nature lovers come from across the globe to experience landscapes that seem almost unreal. Some visitors arrive searching for a filming location of a famous movie. Others come simply to breathe the fresh alpine air and watch the clouds drift across distant peaks. But no matter the reason, one thing becomes clear very quickly. New Zealand is not a place you simply visit. It is a place you experience. In this documentary, we will explore some of the most extraordinary places across this remarkable country. From the dramatic fjords of the south to the volcanic landscapes of the north, a journey through mountains, lakes, forests, and sculptures that have shaped one of the most beautiful nations on earth. This is New Zealand. Part 2. Fjordland and Milford Sound. Far in the southwest corner of New Zealand's South Island lies one of the most dramatic landscapes on earth, a place where mountains rise almost vertically from dark waters, where mist drifts slowly through deep valleys, and where waterfalls cascade endlessly from towering cliffs. This is Fjordland National Park, one of the largest and most remote protected areas in the country. Covering more than 12,000 square kilometers, Fjordland is the vast wilderness shaped by the immense power of glaciers during the last ice age. Over thousands of years, massive rivers of ice carved deep valleys into the mountains, slowly grinding away rock and leaving behind dramatic fjords, narrow inlets of the sea surrounded by steep cliffs. Among all the Fjordland's incredible landscapes, one place stands above the rest: Milford Sound. Often described as the eighth wonder of the world, Milford Sound is not technically a sound, but a fjord, a deep glacier valley flooded by the sea. Here, sheer granite cliffs rise more than 1,000 meters above the dark waters below. The most iconic of these cliffs is Meteor Peak, a dramatic pyramid-shaped mountain that towers nearly 1,700 meters above the fjord's surface. Its sharp summit often disappears into passing clouds. Rain is a constant presence in Fjordland. In fact, this region receives some of the highest rainfall levels on Earth, sometimes more than 7 meters of rain each year, but rather than diminishing the landscape, the rain transforms it. After heavy showers, hundreds of temporary waterfalls appear along the cliff faces. Thin silver streams of the water tumble down the dark rock, turning the entire fjord into a moving landscape of flowing water. Permanent waterfalls also shape the scenery here. Among the most famous are Sterling Falls and Bowen Falls, both plunging dramatically from high above into the quiet waters below. For centuries before Europeans arrived, the Maori people knew this region well. They called Milford Sound Pio Pio Tahi, a name connected to ancient legends. According to Maori tradition, the hero Mai once attempted to win immortality for humanity but failed. After his death, a small bird called the Pio Pio flew into this fjord to mourn him, giving the place its sacred name. Despite its beauty, Fjordland remained largely isolated for much of human history. Dense rainforest covers the mountainsides with ancient trees, moss covered by rocks, and thick ferns, creating an almost prehistoric atmosphere. Many areas are accessible only by boat, helicopter, or long hiking routes. One of the most famous walking trails in the world passes through this wilderness. The Milford Track stretches through valleys, forests, and open passes for more than 50 kilometers. For over centuries, travelers have followed this trail through Fjordland's wide landscapes, experiencing the quiet isolation of one of the Earth's largest great wilderness regions. Wildlife thrives here as well. Seals often rest on the rocks along the fjord's edge, while dolphins occasionally glide through the dark waters. High above the cliffs, seabirds circle through the misty air. And deep beneath the surface of the fjord, rare black coral forests grow in the cold, clear water. Standing in the Milford Sound, surrounded by towering cliffs and drifting clouds, visitors often experience a strange sense of scale. Human presence feels small here, almost insignificant compared to the immense power of the landscape. Mountains that look millions of years to form rise silently above the sea. Waterfalls fall endlessly into the fjord, and the rain continues its quiet work of shaping the land. Fjordland is not simply a place to see, it is a place to feel the ancient forces of the natural world. A reminder that long before humans arrived, and long after we are gone, nature will continue its slow, patient creation of the landscapes like this one. Part 3. Queenstown and Lake Wakatipu. On the southern shores of the vast, shimmering Lake Wakatipu, surrounded by rugged mountains and deep valleys, lies one of the most famous destinations in New Zealand, the small alpine town of Queenstown. Often called the adventure capital of the world, Queenstown has become a magnet for travelers seeking excitement, beauty, and unforgettable landscapes. Yet, beyond its reputation for thrilling-seeking activities, the town itself is also a place of remarkable natural serenity. Lake Wakatipu, stretching nearly 80 kilometers through the mountains, forms the heart of the region. Its deep blue waters wind through the landscape in a distinctive lightning bolt shape, reflecting the dramatic peaks that surround it. Among these mountains rises a striking range known as the Remarkables. True to their names, these jagged peaks rise sharply from the edge to the lake, creating one of the most recognizable skylines in the country. In winter, their slopes are blanketed with snow, drawing skiers and snowboarders from all over the world. In summer, the same mountains transform into a playground for hikers, climbers, and explorers. But Queenstown's connection to adventure goes back further than modern tourism. In 1988, the world's first commercial bungee jumping operation was established at the historic Kawaro Bridge, just a short drive from the town center. What began as a daring experience quickly grew into an international phenomenon, forever linking Queenstown with extreme sport and adrenaline-filled experience. Today, visitors can skydive high above the lake, paraglide from the mountain peaks, or ride jet boats through narrow river canyons. Yet, despite this excitement, Queenstown also offers moments of quiet beauty. As evening approaches, the town's waterfront becomes peaceful. Gentle waves lap against the shore, and the fading sunlight paints the mountains in the warm shades of gold and orange. Boats glide slowly across the lake. Restaurants and small cafes begin to glow with the soft lights. And in the distance, the silhouette of the mountains grows darker against the twilight sky. For the indigenous Māori, this region was once an important seasonal gathering place. Māori travelers journeyed through the mountains searching for ponomo, or greenstone, a highly valued jade used for tools, jewelry, and ceremonial objects. The lakes and valleys were part of the ancient travel routes that connected different tribal regions across the South Island. Through modern Queenstown is now a bustling travel hub. The surrounding landscape still holds echoes of those early journeys. Just beyond the town center, quiet hiking trails wind through the forest and along alpine ridges. Hidden valleys and distant peaks remind visitors that the wilderness of the South Islands still stretches far beyond the boundary of the world. Standing beside the vast waters of the Lake Wakatipu, it becomes easy to understand why this place has captured the imagination of so many travelers. It is a meeting point between adventure and tranquility, between dramatic landscapes and peaceful moments, and it is only the beginning of what New Zealand's South Islands has to offer. Because further north, beyond the high mountain passes, lies the tallest peak in the country, a mountain sacred to Maori tradition and surrounded by some of the most breathtaking alpine scenery in the southern hemisphere, the mighty Aoraki or Mount Cook. Part 4. Aoraki or Mount Cook. Far from the busy adventure town of the Queenstown, the landscape of the South Island rises into something even more dramatic. Jagged peaks pierces the sky. Ancient glaciers carved their way through deep valleys. At the center of it stands the tallest mountain in New Zealand, the majestic Aoraki or Mount Cook, reaching 3,724 meters above the sea level. Aoraki dominates the surrounding mountain range inside Aoraki or Mount Cook National Park. The park contains more than 20 peaks taller than 3,000 meters, making the most spectacular alpine region in the country. For the indigenous Maori, Aoraki is far more than just a mountain. According to Maori legend, Aoraki was once a young ancestor who traveled across the sky with his brothers and in a great canoe. When the canoe overturned, the brothers climbed onto its hull and were transformed into stone. Their bodies became the peaks of the Southern Alps. Aoraki, the tallest of them, stands at the center of this ancient story. Today, the mountain continues to inspire awe among climbers, scientists, and travelers alike. The surrounding park is home to massive glaciers, including the famous Tasman Glacier, which stretches for nearly 27 kilometers through the valley. From above, the glaciers looks like a frozen river in the pale blue ice slowly flowing between towering rock walls. Although the glaciers move only a few meters each year, The presence constantly reshapes the landscape. Melting ice from glacier lakes, rockfalls reshape the valley floor, and powerful winds sweep down from the peaks. For mountaineers, Aoraki has long been considered one of the great challenges of the southern hemisphere. The first successful ascent was made in 1894 by a team led by Tom Fifi, marking a history moment in the exploration of the country's mountains. Yet for many visitors, simply standing beneath the towering peaks is adventure rough enough. One of the most popular trails in the park is the Huki Valley Track, a scenic park that winds through alpine meadows. One of the most popular trails in the park is Huki Valleys, across the swinging suspension bridge and toward a glacier like the foot of Aoraki itself. Along the way, hikers pass fields of golden grass, clear streams fed by melting snow, and wide open views of the mountains ahead. With every step, the scale of the landscape becomes more impressive. The peaks rise higher, the air grows cooler, and the silence of the mountain becomes deeper. As evening falls, the park reveals another breathtaking sight. Far from city lights, the night sky above the Mount Cook becomes incredibly clear. This region forms part of the Aoraki Mackenzie National Dark Sky Reserve, one of the largest protected dark sky areas in the world. Here, thousands of stars illuminate the night. The Milky Way stretches across the sky like a glowing river of the light, and the mountains stand quietly beneath the universe. It is a reminder that the beauty of this place extends far beyond daylight landscapes. Because beyond the glaciers and peak of Mount Cook, another extraordinary region awaits, a place where turquoise lakes meet golden plains and where one of the most beautiful rivers in the world leads travelers deep into the heart of the New Zealand's wilderness. Part 5, Lake Tekapo and the Mackenzie Basin. South of the towering peaks of Aoraki Mount Cook, the rugged alpine landscape gradually softens into wide open plains. Glaciers give way to rolling hills, and mountain valleys open into a vast golden basin shaped by ancient ice. This is the beautiful Mackenzie Basin, one of the most striking natural regions in New Zealand. At the heart of this landscape lies a lake unlike almost anywhere else on Earth, the breathtaking Lake Tekapo. At first glance, the color of the water seems almost unreal. The lake glows with a brilliant shade of turquoise that shifts between the pale blue and bright aquamarine depending on the light of the day. This unusual color is caused by something known as glacial flour, incredibly fine rock particles created as glaciers rained against the mountains. These particles remain suspended in the water, scattering sunlight and giving the lake its magical glow. Surrounded by golden grassland and its distant mountain, Lake Tekapo has become one of the most photographed lake locations in the country. Near the edge of the lake stands a small stone building that has become an iconic symbol of the region, the Church of the Good Shepherd. Built in 1935, the most church was constructed to serve the earliest sheep farmers who settled in this remote valley. Today, its simple stone walls and wooden roof blend perfectly within the natural landscape. Behind the church altar windows, visitors can see a stunning view directly across the lake toward the mountains. It is a reminder that in places like this, nature itself becomes the most powerful cathedral. But Lake Tekapo offers another remarkable experience after the sunset. Like the nearby mountains of Mount Cook, this region forms the part of the Aoraki Mackenzie International Dark Sky Reserve, one of the largest protected dark sky areas on the planet. With almost no light pollution, the night sky above the Mackenzie Basin becomes extraordinarily clear. On a cloudless night, Thousands of stars emerge above the lake. The Milky Way stretches across the skyline of a river of light, and distant galaxy become visible to the naked eye. For astronomy lovers, the best place to experience this cosmic spectacle is the Mount Jones Observatory, located high on a hill overlooking the lake. From here, scientists and visitors alike gaze deep into the universe, studying stars, planets, and distant galaxies. Yet, even without telescope, simply standing beside the lake beneath the night sky can feel unforgettable. The silence of the basin, the reflection of the stars on the water, and the vastness of the universe above, all combine to create a sense of wonder that few places on Earth can match. But New Zealand's landscape are far from finished. Because the further north, the journey leads to one of the most powerful natural forces into the country, a region where Earth itself seems alive with heat, steam, and volcanic energy. Welcome to the geothermal heat of the North Island. Part 6. Rotorua, the geothermal heart. Across the Cook Strait from the South Island lies a very different landscape. Instead of glaciers and alpine peaks, the ground itself seems alive. Steam rises from the earth, mud bubbles from the hidden chambers below, and the scent of the sulfur drifts through the air. Welcome to Rotorua, the geothermal heart of New Zealand. Located on the volcanic North Island, Rotorua sits within one of the most geologically active regions of the country. Beneath the surface lies a vast system of underground heat created by tectonic forces deep within the earth. As groundwater seeps into these hot layers, it is heated and forced back toward the surface. The result is a landscape filled with geothermal wonders. Geysers erupt into sky, hot springs shimmers with mineral colors, and boiling mud pools churn continuously like giant natural cauldron. One of the most famous geothermal attractions is the Tekapo, home to the spectacular Bohutu geysers. Several times a day, this powerful geysers shoots boiling water as high as 30 meters into the air, surrounded by clouds of steam rising from the surrounding valley. The sight is both beautiful and humbling, a reminder of the immense forces hidden beneath the surface of the earth. Yet, Rotorua is not only known for its geology, it is also one of the most important cultural centers of the Māori. For centuries, Māori communities have lived alongside these geothermal landscapes, using the natural heat of the land in remarkable ways. Hot pools became unnatural baths, steam vents were used for cooking traditional meals, and geothermal warmth heated homes during cold winters. Visitors today can experience this living culture at places like Wakatipu, where residents will still maintain traditions passed down through generations. Here, food is cooked underground using geothermal steam in a method called hangi. Baskets of meat and vegetables are lowered into earth ovens heated by volcanic stones, slowly cooking the food for hours. The result is a meal infused with the flavors of the land itself. As evening falls, Rotorua reveals yet another side of its chaotic character. Cultural performances celebrate Maori heritage through powerful storytelling, rhythmic chanting, and the famous haka, a dramatic display of the strength and unity. Under flickers firelight, the dance echoes through the night, a powerful expression of the identity, tradition, and connection to the land. But the landscape of New Zealand continued to evolve beyond geothermal valleys. Because further south lies a place where waterfalls fall from towering cliffs, mist rises from the ancient forest, and one of the most breathtaking fjords of the world stretches deep into the wilderness, a place known as Milford Sound. Part 7. Milford Sound. Deep in the remote southwest corner of the South Island lies one of the most dramatic landscapes in New Zealand, a place where mountains plunge directly into the sea, where waterfalls fall from towering cliffs hundreds of meters high, and where mist drips silently through narrow valleys carved by ancient glaciers. This is Milford Sound, the most famous fjord in the country. Located inside the vast wilderness of Fjordland National Park, Milford Sound is part of one of the largest protected natural area in the world. The park itself covers more than 12,000 square kilometers of mountains, rainforests, and deep fjords shaped over millions of years. During the Ice Age, enormous glaciers slowly carved their way through the mountains of the Southern Alps, creating deep valleys that were later filled by the sea. The result is breathtaking landscape visitors see today. Towering cliffs rise nearly vertical from the water. Ancient forests climb to the steep slopes, and clouds often gather around the peaks, giving the fjord a mysterious atmosphere. Perhaps the most iconic features of Milford Sound is the towering peak down known as Milky Peak. Rising more than 1,600 meters above the water, Milky Peak is one of the tallest mountains in the world to rise directly from the sea. Its big, dramatically pyramid shape has become one of the most recognizable natural landmarks in New Zealand. Yet the beauty of Milford Sound becomes even more powerful when it rains, and here, rain is very common. This region receives some of the highest rainfall on Earth, sometimes more than 6 meters each year. When storms arrive, hundreds of temporary waterfalls suddenly appear along the cliffs, cascading down the mountainsides like silver ribbons. What might seem like bad weather elsewhere becomes a magical transformation here. For many travelers, the best way to experience the fjord is by boat. Cruises glide quietly through the dark water, passing beneath towering cliffs and drifting close to waterfalls that tumble directly into the sea. Along the way, wildlife sometimes appears. Pods of bottlestone dolphin swim beside the boats. Lazy New Zealand fur seal colonies rest on rocky outcrops along the shore. And high above the cliffs, rare birds such as the kea glide through the mountain air. Yet despite its growing popularity, my Milford Sound still feels wide and remote. Towering mountains block the outside world. Dense rainforest covers the valley, and long stretches of the fjord remain untouched by modern development. Standing here, surrounded by mist, water, and stone, it becomes easy to understand why many explorers once believed this landscape was the most beautiful place in the entire country. But the journey through New Zealand is not complete without one final destination, a vibrant city where cultures meet, harbors sparkle beneath volcanic hills, and modern life blends with the natural beauty that defines the nation, a city known as Auckland. Part 8. Auckland. At the northern end of North Island lies the largest and most vibrant city in New Zealand, a city surrounded by water, a skyline rising between two harbors, and the landscape shaped by dozens of ancient volcanoes. Welcome to Auckland, often called the City of Sails. This nickname reflects the city's deep connection with the sea, located between the Waitemata Harbour and the Waimanukau Harbour. Auckland has one of the highest numbers of boats per capita in the world. On any sunny afternoon, hundreds of white sails can be seen gliding across the sparkling waters of the harbour. From the waterfront, the city skyline rises into the sky, dominated by unmistakable landmark, the Sky Tower. Landing 328 meters tall, the Sky Tower is the tallest structure in New Zealand and offers breathtaking views across the entire region. From its observation decks, visitors can see the city stretching across the volcanic hills, islands scattered throughout the harbour, and distant mountain ranges on the horizon. But Auckland is more than just a modern city. It is also built upon a landscape shaped by volcanic activity. More than 50 extinct volcanoes lie within the city limits, creating rolling green hills and natural viewpoints across the region. One of the most famous is the Mount Eden, known to the Maori as Mangahau. From the summit, visitors can look directly into a massive crater formed by ancient eruptions thousands of years ago. The hill also offers one of the best panoramic views of the entire city skyline. Beyond the city center, Auckland Harbour opens toward the beautiful islands of the Aoraki Gulf. One of the most popular destinations is the Wakatipu Island, known for its vineyards, beaches, and relaxed coastal almost atmosphere. Just a short ferry ride from the downtown Auckland, the island feels like a completely different world. Rolling vineyards overlook turquoise bays, and the small seaside villages welcome visitors with cafes, galleries, and local wines. Museums such as the Auckland War Memorial Museum showcase the rich history of the country, from ancient Polynesian navigation to the modern multicultural society that defines the New Zealand today. As evening arrives, light begins to glow across the harbour. Restaurants filled with conversation, and the sky town illuminates the sky above the city. Auckland becomes a place where nature and modern life exist side by side. But beyond its cities, mountains, fjords, and lakes, the true beauty of New Zealand lies in something deeper, a sense of connection between land, culture, and people. And that is where the journey finally comes to its conclusion. Part 9. Conclusion. From towering mountains to quiet coastline islands, the landscapes of New Zealand tell a story unlike almost anywhere else on Earth. It is a land shaped by powerful natural forces, glaciers carving valleys through the Southern Alps, volcanoes rising from the heart of North Island, and deep fjords cutting into the wide coastline of Fjordland National Park. Across this landscape, nature remains both beautiful and untamed. The turquoise waters from Lake Tekapo glow beneath star-filled skies. The ancient glaciers surround the powering park of Aoraki, Mount Cook, and the misty cliffs of Milford Sound remind visitors just how powerful nature can be. Yet, the story of New Zealand is not only about landscapes, it is also about people. For centuries, the Māori have lived in deep connection with the land, shaping a nation, tradition, stories, and cultural values that continue to define the nation today. Their relationship with nature, respectful, spiritual, and enduring, remains an important part of the country's identity. In modern cities like Auckland, this ancient heritage blends with contemporary life. Harbors filled with sailing boats, vibrant festival, and diverse communities reflect the spirit of a nation that looks both to the nature, future, and the past. Perhaps that is what makes New Zealand so unique. It is a place where wide landscapes still dominate the horizon, where mountains, forests, and oceans shape everyday life, and where the connection between people and nature remains deeply rooted. For travelers, New Zealand is more than just a destination. It is an experience of discovery, a journey through one of the most extraordinary landscapes on our planet, and a reminder that even in the modern world, places of true natural wonder still exist.